ми розпочинаємо науково-педагогічне стажування разом з нашими партнерами з Влоцлавського університету. Дозвольте, будь ласка, від імені Центру українсько-європейського наукового співробітництва дякувати усім членам сьогоднішнього заходу за те, що ви зацікавились взяти участь, зважаючи на війну, на складні умови, рухаєтесь у напрямку отримання вченого звання доцента, старшого дослідника та професора відповідно. Щиро дякую тим учасникам стажування, які виявили бажання стати членами центру та відповідно поповнили нашу велику родину, яка станом на сьогодні складає вже більше ніж 1100 осіб. Центр українсько-європейського співробітництва тривалий час співпрацює з Влоцлавським університетом у місті Влоцлавек, з Куявським університетом у місті Влоцлавек. І, відповідно, сьогодні маємо черговий наш захід і маємо дуже цікаву лекцію від представників Куявського університету. Зокрема, це Joanna Skiba, керівник міжнародного відділу відповідного університету, досвідчений у Польщі дослідник проблем дистанційної освіти та освіти дорослих. Та, відповідно, Marcin Miziołek, сертифікований тренер, коуч та наставник. Сьогодні ми будемо протягом години співпрацювати з ними і, відповідно, матимемо лекцію на тему «Літня академія» для викладачів стратегії ефективної комунікації в навчальному середовищі. У вас усе вийде. З вашого дозволу я передаю слово нашим колегам з Польщі. Joanna, please speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. As always, we are more than happy to be able to communicate, to express and share our ideas and experiences and the topic of the Summer Academy for today, as we are in the middle of summer holidays and we have thought that something slightly more general, maybe a bit lighter, but also very useful for you as academic teachers may be offered from our side, from me and my colleague, Dr. Marcin Miziołek. First, let me introduce Dr. Miziołek, who has been working with our university for many years, has been cooperating, and is a graduate of University of Glasgow, Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Manchester Metropolitan University in many academic programs related to mentoring, coaching, psychology, and the support of self-development. So today we would like to concentrate on those areas of effective communication, resilience, power, strategies. There will be our main topics that we would like to concentrate on, and also to engage you in some kind of interaction and communication if possible. So probably we will use the chat for this to be able to connect and to somehow interact with you on those specific areas. I think we will start with the first and biggest topic for today. So the strategies of effective communication. And I would like to direct this question to Marcin and ask, what do you think are the strategies of effective communication we may take, especially in the working environment?
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you for having us, for inviting us, and for giving us the opportunity to actually, as Joanna said, communicate with you. And I could actually hear this word being emphasized a few times: communication, to communicate, to share, to talk, to discuss. So effective communication, this is actually, from my point of view, me myself being also a psychotherapist, this is an issue which comes up very often, that people find it difficult to communicate, you can actually, Joanna has already said that we will actually try to engage you in this communication, in this, I don't know, like lecture today, let's call it a lecture. Do you sometimes have a situation like this when you feel that somebody doesn't understand what you are trying to say? When you think you've made your point, you actually gave, I don't know, maybe clear instructions. So, from your point of view, the communication is clear, but the other person doesn't really understand you. It may be a spouse, like a husband or a wife, because this is the most common most common, it happens very often. But actually, when it comes to the topic of effective communication, it means that it is conveying the message that you shared your views with the other person and the other person understands what you think. It's not about you making the other person think the way you think. It would be sometimes manipulation. Yes, so it's just about understanding what you want from the other person, or what you think, what the other person thinks. So this is mainly just exchanging information. And we are used to communication, which is actually, like one person, for example, at school even, one person standing and telling us, this is what you should do, this is what we require from you, you have to do this, and this, then there is a test, you have to do that. This is, this is from school. But when we are talking about, communication between employees, it is not vertical communication, if you know what I mean. Yes, vertical when there is a teacher and a student, but more horizontal communication. So now, what can we do to make this communication effective? There is something like, I don't know if you've ever heard about it, NVC. NVC, I will actually use the chat. Okay, it is there. Have you ever heard about it? Please type yes or no on the chat. Yes, if you've heard about NVC, yes or no. NVC, it's abbreviation for non-violent communication. Okay, so non-violent communication, it's actually a style of communication, I can call it a style of communication, which actually, if more people could actually type, we've got only 2 responses. So I really encourage you to type, let's make it more interactive. This communication says that you have 4 steps when you want to talk to somebody, when you want to share an idea, when you want to express yourself, your feelings, you should take 4 steps. The first step is observation. Yes, so when you say that you actually see something. Yes, so for example, when it comes to working environment, I see that we have a new project that has to be done. It's just the main thing, observation. So the other person cannot say, no, it's not like that. Argument won't start like this, because you are observing the situation and you are saying, okay, we have a new project that has to be done, a new project ahead of us. So observation is the first thing. The second thing is emotions. So how you feel about it. This is also very important. What is your attitude towards this? The situation. Yes, so you can say, for example, I really hope that we will make it on time because it is very important for me. So this is actually what you feel. Again, it is what you feel. Everything is about you. This very moment, it is about you. So again, this person, the other person, your speaker cannot say, no, it's not important for you. Or you don't feel like, no, they can't deny it because it is your feeling and you know what you are feeling. So then you say, okay, so you got a project ahead of us, we have to make it. It's really important for me and I want to, work as it is scheduled, whatever. Then the next thing is your need. You say what you need. Yes, so I need you to prepare this and this and that. This is what you need. So again, you start with you. I need you to do this, 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 this. So you give instructions. And then the final part, which is key, it's your request. You ask this person to do something because this is about the communication. Sometimes people forget to ask. So could you be, it is a very artificial situation now that I'm speaking like that. Yes, I'm just, inventing something, but the request is like, so could you do it for next Friday? Or could you prepare all the documents I need for next? Could you send this email now to? So you communicate what you really need from a person that you are trying to communicate with. Why? We tend to forget. And I need to tell you about the basic psychological thing that we actually have in our heads. I call it magical thinking. That we somehow think that the other person understands what we think without saying what we want. Yeah, like a husband thinks that his wife is a mind reader. Or a wife thinks that her husband is a mind reader and he should know that he has to do the dishes or whatever, yes? Okay, so tell him that you see that there are some dishes and you don't have time to do it and you really need this person to do it and you are asked the person to, so could you please do it? Of course, the communication can go on and say, okay, I see that there are the dishes that have to be made, but I don't have time now as well, so maybe I can do it later. Okay, this is communication, but you have to communicate. So to sum up this short, I wanted it to be a short introduction, but let's say it is a little bit longer. If I were to answer a question, what is the effective communication? I even say the effective communication, like there's one whole big chunk of communication which can be effective is you have to communicate. If you want effective communication, you have to communicate. Leave the magical thinking. If you give instructions, then the other person will understand what she or he has to do. The same comes back to you. You can demand the instructions. That's just the basic introduction, Joanna.
Thank you. And I think this is very clear and basic. I think the magical thinking, or I would say also wishful thinking sometimes, when we wish that some things may happen if we just think about them. I think it's like it's in everybody's mind. Well, it's, I think, underlying our actions very, very often. Maybe it's more wishful thinking that we employ at home in our private life. Maybe I think if it comes to relations at office or relations at university, I think we try to be a bit more strict and more even harsh on ourselves when we know that those relations may lead to conflicts. So that's my strategy in my office. I openly talk to people and I openly ask. So that's the best solution that I have for my office life, but not always in my personal life, I would say. But in order to avoid conflicts, I think being open and sometimes very strict and straightforward in a way, I think that's the best strategy to be effective, to carry the message across. And I think to be able to carry this message across is also something which will bear fruit for us in consequence of our actions. And I think you may agree with me that being open may lead to quite smooth conflict management, as this was also one of the subtopics. I think it's all related to our inner power, and the power we have, it's like the power, it's the resilience. That's what I mean exactly. So Marcin, could you refer and somehow make a connection to the resilience? What are the general characteristics and types, and how it can be related to effective communication?
Of course, resilience is a very important aspect of not only of communication, but it is a very important aspect of our lives. Resilience is actually, in short, it's being able to adapt to new difficult situations and then to grow, to expand, to develop. So actually being flexible, that actually is a very nice word to be used at the moment. To be flexible, you know, we have to adapt to what's going on, and then we grow stronger. And when again we face such a difficulty, it's not as difficult as it used to be. Yes, so again, it's easier. So it's also like Kaizen, you know, step by step, small steps forward, and then you actually improve, you develop, and the outcome can be better. Resilience, it is important when we are talking about kids, but also when we talk about adults. And I want to come back to this magical thinking, to even explain it a bit more, so that you maybe metaphorically understand it even better. This magical thinking is something that a child has. A small child, like an infant, or maybe a child that's 2 or 3 years old. The child is hungry. What does the child do? Cries. The child has a stomachache. The child cries. The child has, has just pooped. Again, the baby cries. So the mother or the father have to guess what the child wants. If something hurts, what hurts? Maybe it's a stomach, maybe it's an arm, maybe it's a finger. So it's a kind of a guessing game. So when we, let's say properly, maybe it's not a proper word to be used like that. Maybe it's not politically correct to use the word properly develop. Then when we are older, we don't have this magical thinking. We know that we need to communicate what we want. If I am hungry, I am 39 years old. If I am hungry, I say, I'm hungry, I want to eat something, I want to go somewhere. And I tell that. So when we are somehow stuck in this period, it means that when we are 30, 40, 50 years old, and we want our business partners, our co-workers to guess what we are thinking, it means that this is from our inner child, and we still have some problems to be healed, because it's not a guessing game. It's not a guessing game. You don't have to know what I want. Yeah, and I'm an adult, and I can convey the message. I can tell you what I need. You can agree, you can disagree. This is also important. You can give me your ideas, and then again, we are coming back to this topic of communication. So resilience is also important, that you grow through time. Time goes by, year by year we get older, and year by year we have more experience, new experience, and the things that happen, sometimes when something is new, you know, it's like we don't know what it is. Do you know what a cramp is? When you have, because this is a story from my private life, a story from last weekend, to be honest. A cramp is like when you have a muscle and it, you know, it blocks. Yeah, you know, it's painful. It happens, you know, to your legs. Very often it can happen to legs, actually. So in my house, there's a 10-year-old girl. And last time, last Friday, she actually had a cramp in her leg. She didn't know what it was because it was her first cramp. She didn't know how to call it, how to say it. She was trying to explain it. She was crying because it happened actually for the first time. It was a big surprise to her. And I understand that next time when she has it, now after she's been, you know, we've explained what it was. So next time she will be even more resilient because she will be aware of what's going on. So resilience is actually growing because it was painful, this cramp for her. It was painful, and now she knows, so she will be more resilient to know what it will be. Next time it will be easier for her. So she will be more flexible. She will know that this is not dangerous, you know, when it comes to her life, etc., etc. So we grow physically, mentally. The more, you know, sometimes difficult experiences we have, it's easier for us to handle them. That's why we say that we as adults are responsible also for our children, because we can, you know, put more difficult experiences in ourselves, in our bodies, let's say, than our children. So that's mainly the idea for resilience. Sorry for the private story, but I just wanted you to get it as I see it.
Thank you. I think it's a very good and clear connection between the strategies of communication and communication in itself and resilience, because I think they are very interconnected and they intermingle on many different levels. Talking about the inner power and resilience as such, I think I will mention the general types that we have of this power, of this resilience, and they also may be reflected in many spheres of our lives. We can talk about the physical, mental, and emotional resilience. So these areas also interact and create us on many scientific and psychological levels. Many of us, especially now when the times are uncertain and really difficult, many of us employ this survivor mentality when we act as strong men and we feel that we have the control of situation, we have the control of communication as well. And I think it's not easy to act like that. But if we have the problem solving skills ourselves, I think we can act as people in control of situations and feelings and emotions. And we can also talk about the physical resilience, which is quite easy to interpret in situations. Also mental and social. And to get to the level of resilience and power, inner power to be able to control, I think we should also concentrate on our everyday life and routine. Aspects like getting enough sleep and also taking regular exercise, being able to regulate our emotions successfully, and also being able to connect with others. I think these are areas of the basic structure that makes us strong, resilient, and more powerful. And that is the somehow background for us to have this strong backbone, to have the strong and powerful psyche to be able to exist in the times that we face. Talking about personality, Marcin, what are the personality traits that help us in the face of challenges of our lives?
It depends on the situation, I think, because we are different. I think this is what I'm trying to tell all my clients. It doesn't matter whether it is a therapy, coaching, or psycho-oncology, because I'm also a psycho-oncologist. We are all different. There is no one strategy that I can now share with you and say, okay, this is what you have to do, and just do it. And, you know, this is not a Nike commercial, just do it. No, it's not like that. It is actually trying to find what we need, or trying to find what we want, what I want, what you want, yes? And then it will be more effective for us, what my personality traits are, and then I want to use them as my strong force, as power, as what I have, and then I want to redirect myself and go where I suit best for me. Now, it may sometimes sound a bit egoistic, but it's not. It's totally not like that. Because if you've got resources and you go where your resources are needed, you feel best, and actually people around you feel best because you provide what you are best. You know, it's just that simple. It's not that simple to find it in yourself, but this is why therapies are okay. This is why coaching is okay, because some people are extroverts. Some people are introverts. You know, extrovert, they need other people. Introvert is more like, you know, being not a loner, but you know the difference. I think, you know, if you don't, of course, I will try to explain it that you spend more time alone, you spend more time in your head. And when you need to regulate yourself, there's a very nice strategy that extroverts have. When they need to regulate, they talk to friends. You're like, this happened. So 10 people take their problems, that's okay. When you are an introvert, you regulate, you go to your head, and you are with the problem, with the issue, with the situation that's going on in your life, you are within yourself. And when people come to me, when an extrovert comes to me, 5 minutes, I know everything. When an introvert comes to me, first of all, I thank them for actually trying to explain what they feel, because this is like the biggest invitation that I can get, or actually the biggest invitation that they can give, that they invite me to their world, their intimate world, and nobody has ever been there. Even they don't go there often because they are sometimes afraid, you know? So one strategy for everybody, it doesn't work like that. You know, people are planners. I need to plan. I need to know what's going to happen. I need to have a schedule. And there are people who are spontaneous. They hate planning. You know, they always change plans. So if you are a planner and you've got a, you know, working habit, you know, I mean, workplace habit, and your boss is like, okay, let's do it like this. And you're a spontaneous person. And this person goes like, this is the plan. On Monday, we will do this. On Friday, this is a long-term goal. This is something that, so an extrovert, who is very spontaneous, 30 seconds later during the speech is falling asleep. Because he knows that, okay, so I'll read it again, or maybe I'll do it my way, or what. Okay, he's more creative. He doesn't want to be like in a cage. But when you are an introvert and a planner, and you hear that your boss is saying that, you think to yourself, that's the best boss I've ever had. I know what I need to do. Yeah, so this is your environment. So your personality traits suits here best. So try to find what you want, what you need. And if you can, of course, answer my question in the chat. I understand that, I hope that more people than only Joanna and Victoria have seen the chat box and can answer my next question, which is, are you a planner or are you more spontaneous? So if you are a planner, please type P. And if you are spontaneous, please type S. So we will see different people having, I mean, I don't know who will actually reach the keyboard. I hope you have keyboards. Okay, so we've got 2 planners, 3 planners, even 4 planners. Okay, so now we're talking. So you can see that, okay, planner, okay, Serhi, planner, I understand. So that's what I'm trying to show you. People are different, okay? So maybe I'm encouraging everybody and I haven't written anything, so I'm spontaneous, I'm more spontaneous and creative. But for example, you know, I've got, okay, now we can see how many planners we have. So the most important for a plan, okay, from my own experience, I've got two companies as well. One is a language school, and the other is, you know, coaching, therapy, etc. I have 11 employees and 1 assistant. She looks after the logistics, the schedule of all my employees, and she is a planner. So I remember when we started our cooperation and I came to the office and I said, okay, her name is Magda. And I said, Magda, in 5 minutes, I will be in your office and we will talk about 3 difficult issues. So I come to her and she's nervous. And I'm like, you know, there are not big issues. And I tell her, but she's nervous. Next time I come to her and I think, okay, maybe we can do it differently. So I write to her, on Monday that tomorrow at 10 I will have a meeting with you, etc. We will talk about our current issues. And again, she's a planner. I come to her and she's nervous. And then I learned this strategy like 5 years ago, that if I email her on Monday that let's meet on Thursday at 9 a.m., I have 5 issues. The first issue is invoicing for this. Second issue, phone call to this company. 3, find a contract, blah, blah, blah. I come to her and she's the happiest person in the world. You know, she knows what I wanted from her. She's prepared. She doesn't need to look for everything. That's the key. So if you are a planner, clear instructions. This is what we'll do. If somebody is, they don't give you clear instructions and they have magical thinking and you should know what you have to do, it's not your environment. You will not find it. If somebody requires creative thinking and, then standing in front of people and, okay, when you are a planner, this is also interesting. When you are a planner and somebody calls you out, there is a hall of students or whatever, and somebody calls you out and says, for example, Victoria, okay, Victoria, let's go and speak to other people. I don't know what to say, but yeah, just talk. This is stressful. For a planner, this is stressful. But for me, if somebody says, okay, Marcin, you have to go, okay, what's the topic? Let's go. Because this is my environment, I can do it. Okay, you need my help. I'm also a helper. So this is my other trait or personality trait, that I am a helper. So if I need to help somebody, I do it spontaneously, no problem. So this is like, try to find when you feel best. Because we are not people pleasers. We do not live in the world to please others. Please yourself first, then think about others. First, you are the most important, and then the others. That's
Thank you. Well, so now as a very strong planner myself, you can imagine how I feel. Well, I think most planners are, well, it's nothing wrong with being either a planner or a spontaneous person. I think it just depends on how you adapt to situations and how you react and how you are ready to accept the changes that are around you. So as you see, Marcin is a very good communicator, and this shows that also the aspect of high emotional intelligence. So I think these are the traits that we should have. We should try, maybe it's not possible to train them in a way, but somehow try to find them in ourselves, because I think we all possess them, but we don't go so deep as we should sometimes. I also think that the other personality traits that may help in uncertain and difficult times is having the positive view of ourselves. So the image that we create inside and the image that we try to create outside, also sticking to realistic plans. And we should always concentrate on something which is quite realistic if we are talking about the working environment and the conflict management. Also the issue of trying to become more resilient. I think we should try to reframe our thoughts, reframe the negative thinking, concentrate on helping, assisting others, because I think there is a great power and source of energy in helping and assisting other people. Also being able to seek and look for support when we need this support. So I think it's one of the points of getting to get more power and more resilience in our life, and to focus on things that are in control, because many people concentrate on things which they completely cannot control, and they feel that they are the ones to be blamed for them, which is totally not true. There is one question on the chat. Spontaneous. Is spontaneous the same as compulsive? And I think, Marcin, can you answer it?
No, it's not. It's not. If I understand it properly, compulsive, compulsive obsessive. Actually, compulsive obsessive, it's rather the planner can be compulsive obsessive, not the spontaneous. But spontaneity in general means that you don't need a plan, you easily adapt to everything. For example, somebody comes to my office now. Let's say that we are in an office now together. You are in my company now in the office, and we have something, a schedule or whatever, and somebody comes and says, okay, let's go to the park because there the meeting will be much better. For me, it's not okay, let's go to the park. And somebody goes like, yeah, but we were supposed to do it like this. And okay, so the change of plans is a little bit stressful for planners. And spontaneous is like, I easily change. I'm very flexible. I can do it. I don't have to do it. You know, if I need to change it, it's okay. You know, I'm waiting at the airport and somebody says, okay, you need to wait 3 hours more, or, you know, okay, so I have to wait. Okay, it's a pain in the back, but I will wait 3 hours. Yes, for people who are like this, very strict, it is a little bit of a problem, maybe a little bit more than a little bit of a problem. Yes, so this is that's the key. So compulsive is not the same as spontaneous.
Okay, thank you. Now getting to another point, and the next point in our discussion today. What kind of strategies do you think we can employ for being for effective well-being in the workplace? Are there any strategies regarding the mental health, the social interaction? So how to be more successful mentally in the workplace?
First of all, communication is important, but communication with yourselves. You have to agree with you. You know, it's like, if you don't agree with you, if you don't know what you want, if you don't know what you need, then, you know, people will not guess. People will, you know, it's as simple as that, but I think that on the other hand, it's the most difficult job that you have to do, to understand yourself, to understand your needs. We have to, you know, looking within us, that's the hardest work that we can do, you know, when we need to go sometimes, you know, look, you know, our past, what happened or whatever, and then heal what happened in the past, and then we know what we need. Because sometimes when people come to me, to my office, and we have therapies or coaching, and I ask them a question like, what do you feel? Like 80% of people can't answer. They don't know what they feel. They say, I'm curious. Yeah, curious is not a feeling. Okay, so maybe I want to drink water, maybe. It's not feeling, you know. Tell me what you feel. Try to find your emotions, you know, whether you're like this or that. Or I've never thought about it. Yeah, thought. You've never thought about it. It's not about thinking. I'm not asking what you think you feel. I'm asking what you are feeling. Yeah, so there are, again, personality traits. There are people who are intuitive. Yeah, they intuitively try to look for something, and there are people who are more realistic. They are pragmatic. They like to know. So first they feel something, and then they think what they are feeling, and what is it? You know, and these people, very often, they have very strong inner dialogues. Before they go to sleep, it is like 15 minutes of, you know, talking to themselves. And maybe you have that. Maybe you have that. It means that you have to understand what's going on. You know, something about the past, what happened, whatever, what's, you know, what you have to do tomorrow. There's a constant dialogue in your head. And intuitive people, they feel, it's a bit different, you know. When I have an individual client, it is more like we can check where this person is or whatever. But first of all, that's the summary of this small part, is like, try to understand what you need, then try to communicate what you need. Because if you communicate, if you are an extrovert, a spontaneous extrovert, you will not be a good accountant. Sorry, but it's impossible, an accountant or an IT programmer sitting alone and programming no, but if you're an introvert who is into realism and being pragmatic, you can be an architect maybe, so this is important. This is important. You have to first, if you understand yourself, then you go to you should choose a career which suits you best. But this is actually the subject which is, it has been omitted in Poland. We are not learned when we are young to, or actually we weren't learned. When I was young, I wasn't given the tools to understand who I am and what I should do. I had to find it myself. Yes, so this is the journey I've been on. So I am looking at the chat. There is all people are different with an exclamation mark. And yes, all people are different. That's the exclamation mark, and it is important. Of course we are. And there is no such thing about, you are better or worse, but this is another aspect which people have. The most harsh judge for me is me. That's always like that, so the worst opinions about me are usually my opinions, so it's the same about you. Self-worth is the key, what we think about ourselves. Everybody is different, okay? All people are different. And which is the most important in achieving a single goal? Again, it depends on the goal. We have different goals. So we have to first, when I sit with a client, I ask what your goal is. The person can say, I don't know what my goal is. I don't know what I want. Yeah? Or maybe they can know what they want. But if somebody says, I would like to write a book, does it mean that everybody has to write a book to be successful? No, somebody can come and can say, I want to be a successful mother. Okay, you don't need a book. And I cannot, okay, no, to be a successful mother, you have to write a book. Different goals, different people, different opinions. Everybody has the right to choose what they want. That's the key.
Thank you. There is one more, and I think final for today. There is a question from Anastasia. We can distinguish the following basic models of behavior in conflict situations: competition, adaptation, compromise, avoidance, cooperation. Are there any additional models of behavior in conflict situations, and how to learn to regulate and manage all phases of the conflict? I think the second part of the question is especially important. Marcin, can you make a short reference to this?
I can see that Anastasia have mentioned major models, and this is actually another topic. It's like impossible to talk about.
Just a short reference, especially to the second part on how to learn to regulate them, maybe.
During my work as a psychotherapist, I've noticed that the most popular, the most common is avoidance. We avoid, we run away, we don't want to face people, we don't, even when it comes to, our workplace, we are afraid of conflicts because we think that if we have a different opinion, it will be a conflict, subconsciously somehow. No, it's not about that. Yes. So, how to regulate, how we can regulate. there's no, as even as Anastasia has said, you know, competition, adaptation, compromise, avoidance. I don't know which one is yours. No, I don't know what you do if you have, like, you know, avoidance. Then we discuss it, and you need to look at this. You need to avoid avoidance. That's interesting, you know, to avoid avoidance. And then avoidance doesn't exist, you know. So again, introspection, looking what I do when there is a conflict, or why I don't communicate, why I don't try to communicate. It's very individual. It is really very individual. It derives from our background, how, you know, what contact we had with our parents, with our peers in the past. It's a very complex subject, I think, and it's worth another lecture.
Thank you very much. I think this doesn't really explore today's topic completely, and I think we will have opportunities to meet again with you, as you are the wonderful audience, as you were interacting with us, asking questions, and we could see and hear that you were interested in the messages we were giving across the screen today. I think that there are so many topics related to our mental health, the protection of our mental health, of communication, situations of being successful in communication, which also relates to our family life, personal life, and our academic life that we all run. I think that the strongest idea of today is to have more focus on ourselves and to feel that we are the important players on the scene of our lives. I would like to thank you very much. Thank you, Marcin, for today's fantastic lecture, and thank you, the wonderful audience. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye. Bye.
Thank you.
Щиро дякуємо, пані Джоанна, щиро дякуємо, пані Марцин, за цікаву лекцію. Щиро дякуємо всім учасникам сьогоднішнього заходу за вашу активність, за те, що були активними, писали в чаті, задавали питання. Хочу від Центру українсько-європейського експерименту зазначити, що до 22 серпня ви обов'язково отримаєте ваші матеріали, зокрема з сертифікатами про участь у науково-педагогічному стажуванні Куявського університету. Всім гарного вечора. До побачення.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for